Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Today is September 3rd, 2021. And as you can tell, I've got the bridge off of this corner of my layout. I got some deep water pour in. What I've been waiting for is to finish this stream out. And as you know, we have a stream that runs the full end of this layout. So it comes off of the irrigation ditch that you see up over here. Then it outlets in that stream. That stream brings it around and then lets it back into the river over here. When we do our future plan, we'll also have a waterfall that will fall down there and drain into the river too. So this is a pretty critical thing. And when we walk around in our front door, when we walk around the corner, that's what we see. So we want to be able to have this represented a pretty cool thing in here. I noticed that there's a little bit of dust on my water resin. So before I pour that, I'm going to have to get a rag and clean that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you into a zoom camera so you can actually see what I'm doing. But the first thing I'm going to do is clean the area, mix up my water resin, and you'll be able to see me pour the water in there and see how it kind of fills in and flows around there. This is an exciting time for me because once I get this area done to the waterfall that's back in here, I'll be able to secure the bridge, put the track back in, glue it down, and ballast it. That's an exciting time for me as I want this section to be ballast, and then we can move on and we can do that church section down there. And so why don't you come back and watch this. What I'm going to show you is some updates that started in March of 2021, and every 2 months I did an update from that side of the layout, so you can kind of see the layout grow. I think that's a pretty cool thing. So we're going to get started on this water pour as soon as I come back. Well, got my water resin ready to pour. We are going to pour it until it comes to the height of that dam that you're seeing right there. It's got some orange wall next to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour from about right here and then move my cup and see what happens here. I made that darker because it's needs to be turquoise blue to match that water in the stream. So I'm going to go back here and here a little bit. I want to just almost go all the way back to that. She's up to the top of the dam. And I'll pour the rest of it from over here because I wanted that blue color in there to be more present. So here we go. I'm going to let that flow river's got to go. If it comes over this ditch here a little bit, that'll be okay. Just makes it look like it's fuller in those rocks. I think I like that. Let me let it set up and I'll give you a flyover of what it looks like. I promised a flyover of what the stream looks like once we have her done. So I just showed you what the river looks like. Let's go back and let's see what feeds into that stream. So this irrigation ditch feeds off the river, and as they irrigate, when they get ready to stop irrigating, they're going to shut the head gate down that comes off of the river. Then they'll take their dams out, but they'll try to get as much water out of it as they can. So when it comes over here, you can see another shutoff that shuts it off or lets it out. And in this situation, it's being let out, and it's kind of got some shallow areas because it kind of goes deeper. Now, if you look at the little Colorado River as it flows into the bigger Colorado River, you know that it is murky, that ties into the turquoise blue. Where those two red markers are, there's going to be another stream with a waterfall that's going to fall in there, basically where that is at. I'm going to pour some more murky water in there, so that'll run a little bit further. So we come around here. There is the bridge that goes back into the tunnel for our freight receiving place. And then there is where more of our stream runs back into. And then it dumps back into the river. And as you can see over there by our little water tower, that stream is going to fall over there and be a waterfall. And it'll also carry the water back into the stream back here. So that's the flyover that I showed you. So let's go see what we're going to do next. The next thing I want to do is make a waterfall that I can put some water highlights on. So Woodland Scenics makes this water effects. So what I do is I measure my area where my waterfall is going to go with some kind of a measuring stick. So in this case, it's about 1.25 inches by about 3/4. What I do is I transfer my pattern onto a piece of plastic Ziploc bag, because I'm going to put the stuff on the Ziploc bag, and then that's how I'm going to transfer it. I just want to use a Ziploc bag to make sure I'm going to be able to do a good job of being able to put that in there. So let me show you how I'm going to do the water effects on there so I can get the lines that I want to make it look like the water's actually falling down there. Let's go over to another table so I can show you that. Okay, now with my bag sitting in here in front of my camera, I'm going to actually make individual lines with my stuff here. Let's run some strips on there. Another thing that I like to do is take a fork. You might want to use a fork that has a better, closer lines on it, and just lift that off of there. And all you want to do is make it so the lines are more present through there. And that's all you want to do. So when this dries, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm going to use my water wave material to adhere that to the actual layout itself. So I'll show you what that looks like when it dries. Now we're going to apply that waterfall. But let me show you what it looks like on this plastic. So what we want to do is we want to cut that out, and we want to not have any of the red showing when we are all done. And so let me cut that out, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like with it cut out, and then I'll show you how I'm going to apply it to the actual form that you see there. Well, here is the piece that I have cut there. I'll be very careful not to have any red color or black, whatever you use. That's where I'm going to put it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some clear glue underneath it. And all I want to do is just put some over this edge here. I want to focus on the top part of it. I'm just going to run it down over that edge. I'm going to take my brush and just kind of brush that over that so my plastic can adhere to it. And then I'm going to stick that on there. Get your plastic so it's not sticking out over anything. Put that all the way down into there. We get ready to do the water waves material. We'll be able to touch up some of that. That's kind of what I want to see there. It's it'll fall down off of there. Now if you let that dry, you can take some water waves and fill in around it. It's these little ridges, you can see them there really well now. That's what I want to put the white water highlights on. So if you let your little piece dry in your glue before you do your white water highlights, you'll be safer. So make sure you let it dry, and then you're seeing the flow from it from the video. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's come back and let's put some waves on it with this material that we got right here. So we've got some water waves. We'll be putting that on there next, and we'll be working back up in here a little bit to swirl around. So check back in a little bit. Applying water waves today. It's actually a pretty cool item. I'm using a palette stir stick. I can dip it in there and I can just start making waves. Touch up the edges of your waterfall. bottom, you want to have it splashing up. Just tap it and splash up. Continue applying your water waves and streaks. You're going to have aggressive water waves when it overflows the waterfall. And here we don't want to have so many water waves. We're going to thin them down a little bit. So keep going heavy until we get to that sand barge back in there. And we'll start breaking them down a little bit. If you do this just right, you'll be able to put your white water highlights over it, which is a white paint resin. What we want to do is stab just a little bit back in here so it starts to slow down. That's about all there is to it. We'll let that dry and then we'll paint the white water highlights over it. Some more bouncing down here. Alright, let's come back and see what it looks like with the white water on it. And we're going to get ready to put our white water highlights on. I'm using this white water highlights from Woodland Scenics. So I'm going to pour a little bit in your paint tray, and then you're going to wipe it all off your brush. So, and then I just use kind of a small, wide brush to apply it. So let me go ahead and set you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. It doesn't take much to dry brush that on there. Don't want to get a whole lot on there because you want it to just barely be visible on those lines or on your ridges. Got the highlights on it. Then I touched up this spot with a little bit of it too. Let me go over that. Really picking up the foam down at the bottom. You can see how it the lines really accent where the water's coming down out. If you want to put like a little bit thicker down at the bottom, because that would be mostly foaming there, just put your white water highlights a little bit thicker down through there. Don't dry it off. Be very careful when you do this step. You don't want to kill it. You know, that looks pretty cool, huh? Let's go back to this little area here. Some foam on it. All right, my friends. think that's a wrap on doing the water stream. It's pretty cool, huh? Maybe we should do a little bit more white water coming down here, because that would rotate off of there and kind of cause some water there. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. All right. Go back and see what that looks like when it's all dried.